Happy New Year. Welcome to Harvey's Huddle. I'm Jackson Harvey. We're going to review our favorite games of Week 17 in the NFL. Really excited for this week. Lots of really good games. I only got 3 games I want to really go over. I didn't do a top 10 this week. If you've listened to my other episode, I've gone over a lot of different coaching situations that I think could go on as the regular season wraps up, and gone over a few end of season awards that happen each year. Go check that out if you haven't, but not right now. Do it after you're done listening to this. Lots of really interesting playoff scenarios going on this week. I think every single wild card spot in the AFC is up for grabs, which is crazy. You got the NFC East. They are still working out which team is going to lose in the wild card round next week. Looks like Washington actually has Alex Smith coming back. I think he was announced as a starter today. I'm filming this on Saturday, so take it as you will. I didn't want to miss any of this last second news, like the Browns all of a sudden losing their receiving core the night before the game against the Jets. Say what you will, I think that's a big reason why they lost. I know Stefanski said that they weren't going to make any excuses, but losing most of your team is a pretty good excuse. And I know people are saying, oh, it's the Jets, you should win anyways. Shut up. So a lot of really interesting things going on. Today, the Saints are without officially Alvin Kamara, who tested positive for COVID-19. And not only that, but the entire running back room is now gone for the last game of the season. And that's a really important factor because they're trying to lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're trying to take it away from the Packers right now. And if they don't have any of their running backs, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. Especially Alvin Kamara scored most of their touchdowns on Sunday. So, and Michael Thomas is out until the playoffs, it looks like. So I don't think the Saints are going to be able to clinch the number 1 seed. I think it's going to be the Packers getting that one. But a lot going on in the NFL Week 17. You've got the Rams having to try to clinch a playoff spot in the NFC, as well as the Cardinals, and they're playing each other. We're going to talk about that game. But yeah, I didn't do a top 10 this week. I thought it was going to be a lot of the same stuff. Me loving Buffalo and thinking they can beat the Chiefs, and hating on the Steelers, even though that they had a great comeback win. But let's talk about the Steelers right now. We got Pittsburgh. We got Cleveland. I said it a few weeks ago, and this is going to be a important game. However, it's not the same kind of importance. I kind of wish Cleveland won last week against the Jets, and so that this would make it kind of a division. Actually, the Steelers won, so it wouldn't have made it for the division, but I wish it would have been. I think Cleveland's had a great season. They deserve it, but we've got Mayfield against the Jets. He threw 53 times. Only completed 28 of those passes, 285 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did have 2 fumbles as well. Just on that, I think that last fumble, I think something needs to be done. I don't know what needs to be done. I don't even know if anything needs to be done. But the fact that a fumble in 2 minutes, I can understand if a fumble goes forward and someone tries to advance it to the end zone, that it shouldn't be allowed, sure, in the final 2 minutes. Although, if you're not allowing it in the final 2 minutes, just don't allow it at all. I don't know. But the fact that Mayfield lost the ball, it went backwards, his running back picked it up and managed to get a first down, I don't see why that's not allowed. And that was a big reason of why they lost the game. Not the only reason. Like I said, they lost most of their starting wide receiving core on the night before. And for some reason, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt just couldn't get anything done on the ground. This team, who usually just runs all over people, 150 yards between the two of them each week, with the three of them, Mayfield, Chubb, and Hunt, they combined for 45 yards rushing. 45 yards. And Baker Mayfield threw the ball 53 times against the Jets. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why they didn't run the ball a little bit more against the Jets or get the ball to Hunt or Chubb a little more either, but they lost. I think they still have had COVID issues all week. I don't think their facility has been open since Wednesday or Thursday. So I think this could be really interesting for them going against the Steelers. And, of course, the Steelers have had to face teams that have had COVID issues all year long. And I think it would be so funny if they ended the year out with another COVID delay. That would be something. Big Ben, he ended the game last week very well. I've got to say, props to the Steelers and props to everyone on that offense. They looked awful in the first half against the Colts, and props to the defense too, holding the Colts to I think only a field goal in the second half there. Really good job in the second half to come back from a pretty sizable deficit. Roethlisberger went 34 for 49. He threw the ball almost 50 times again. 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And this team, though, only combined for 22 rushing yards. So going into the playoffs, if you're a team facing the Steelers, you can line up 4 people in the box every game, every play. There is no risk of a running game with these Pittsburgh Steelers. I do like Cleveland here. It's been announced that Mason Rudolph is starting this game, not Ben Roethlisberger. Of course, the Steelers haven't really had a true quote-unquote bye week, and they didn't manage to lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC. But so they're going to sit Ben. They're going to let him have a little bit of a break. They don't really gain anything from winning or losing this game. If they, at most, they could possibly get the number 2 seed, which does nothing for them. So, and at worst, they can get the number 3 seed. No one's going to touch the number 3 seed from them. So they don't really gain anything. There's no real home field advantage going on either, so the number 2 seed doesn't mean a lot. So I like the move to sit Ben. Everyone else pretty much is all systems go. So Rudolph has everything available to him on offense that Roethlisberger had. I do like Cleveland here, though. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to stop the run like the Jets did. That's so weird to say. Like the Jets did against Cleveland on Sunday. So I think Cleveland's going to win this one. I think it's going to be a little bit more close, especially with all this COVID stuff going on for the Browns. But I think the Browns take this one 27-14. Next, let's take a look at Miami taking on Buffalo. I love these two teams so much. I've been talking about them all year long. Poor Tua. Tua hasn't had a great stat season, but he's led his team to a few wins. Tua was benched at halftime, I believe at halftime or around halftime. So Fitzmagic came in for the Dolphins. He went 9 of 13 for 182 yards and a touchdown. However, this will not be a possibility this week, as I believe Fitzmagic is out with a positive COVID test. So Tua is starting, and Brian Flores came out and said, Tua's our guy. He's the guy we want to ride with, although we didn't want to ride him last week, and we got a win out of it. Myles Gaskin, is it Myles Gaskin? I think it's Myles Gaskin. He had 87 yards on the ground. This Dolphins defense is pretty good. Listen to these stats. They have allowed the 5th least pass completion percentage in the NFL with 62.9%. They have the 5th most yards per attempt, however, allowed with 7.9. They've allowed the second least passing touchdowns in the NFL with 17, and they're tied for the second most interceptions on defense with 16. On the other hand, you have the Bills. The Bills dismantled this New England team especially with the combo of Allen and Diggs hooking up for 3 touchdowns on the night. Allen went 27-36, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This Bills offense, they have the 3rd most passing yards in the NFL and the 5th most passing touchdowns. This is an important game. Miami wins and they're in. If Buffalo wins, they secure a number 2 seed with home field advantage, and they might have the best home field advantage in the NFL right now. The Bills announced that the state of New York is allowing them to have about, I think, 7,000 fans there, which in this day and age might as well be 2 million, right? I really think Tua's going to struggle here. Buffalo's trending upwards. They're peaking right now, and I don't think they're going to want to go into the playoffs on a loss. I really think Buffalo's going to get a good win to end the season off, and they're going to win 34-17. Finally, I want to talk about Arizona and the Rams. This is an interesting game. The Rams, of course, lost Jared Goff. He had thumb surgery at the beginning of this week, and so we're going to see Wolford playing, who has not completed a single pass. He's a true, not a rookie, but he's going to get a pretty interesting awakening on the field on week 17 and it's a win and in situation for both of these teams, if I haven't mentioned that already. We've got Arizona. Kyler Murray, he went 31 for 50 in their loss against the 49ers, 247 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he also led the team in rushing with 75 rush yards. Their offense is not utilizing Hopkins as well as I think they should be. He had 10 catches for 48 yards on Sunday. And so I don't know why they're not getting him downfield more, or making plays to get him open downfield more, but they need to do that if they want to be successful and if they want to get into the playoffs here. I think that's a downside to run-first quarterbacks. I talked about this a few weeks ago, that there's this different era of quarterbacks coming in that use their legs and that have been able to run these option plays, and I think it's a big downside for wide receivers like DeAndre Hopkins, who's a beast downfield, but Kyler is trying to lead the team in rushing yards, and yeah, he threw 50 times in the game and completed 31 passes. Good for him. 0 touchdowns and 50 throws, and doesn't even hit 250 yards in 50 throws. Something's wrong there, and you need to try to... You traded for DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason for a reason, and you need to utilize him. He should be your leading receiver. He should be going downfield, or else why did you trade for him? So try to utilize Hopkins, and they can really make a run in these playoffs, I think. Jared Goff went 24-43 on Sunday in the loss to Seattle, 234 yards and 1 pick as well. This offense is just like the offense for the Cardinals. They need help, although there are issues in that they've got a running quarterback back there, but I think their issue is they barely have a quarterback back there. I don't like Jared Goff. I don't like him right now. He is inconsistent, and I think Sean McVay needs to look for a different quarterback to lead this team. Their defense is good. I know they have Wolford, and I know that he's been announced as the starter, but they went and signed Blake Bortles, who, if you don't know, after he was released by the Jaguars last year, or the year before, he went and signed with the Rams, and he spent a year with the Rams as Goff's backup quarterback. I would almost rather have Bortles taking over snaps in this game, and that's so important. You need to win this game to get into the playoffs. And so why not go with a guy who has experience, who has taken a team to the AFC Championships before and who has experience, I mean, I would go with Blake Bortles at this point, but I'm not Sean McVay. I'm not the coach, so they do what they want. They're going to be out or missing Cooper Kupp as well, who was hurt. I want to say he was either hurt or he had COVID issues. Arizona wins and they're in with a Chicago loss as well. But the other interesting part about this game is that Kyler Murray hurt his leg at the end of the game against San Francisco. And it looks like, I don't know, it looked pretty painful, but Murray and the team, they are downplaying the injury a little bit. I think he could be at risk for re-injuring this leg early on in this game, so we could see two backups going at it. And let me tell you, I love Arizona's backup quarterback situation. They have Tyler Huntley, but I believe their quarterback 2 right now is a man by the name of Chris Streveler. And I don't know if a lot of people know this man, but I do, and it's because he has played in the Canadian Football League for the last few years until he signed with the Cardinals in this offseason. He is this big, bulky quarterback that is tough. And, of course, he's not as agile as Kyler Murray, but he is a running quarterback, and he loves to run the ball. He led the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the CFL to a Grey Cup championship, which is basically the Super Bowl for the Canadian Football League. But he did it through a running style of play that really took defenses and threw them for a loop because of his bigness, his toughness, his willingness to take... I haven't seen quarterback sneaks like I have with Chris Streveler taking the snaps. So I like Streveler. He also has a beauty of a deep ball. He can throw the ball really well. So if Kyler Murray goes down and we see Chris Streveler coming into the game, I really think that's a good thing for Arizona, and I think that could be a really good thing for Streveler. I would love to see that. I love CFL talent coming into the game and taking over a little bit. You know, we had Cameron Wake coming into the NFL. He was a BC Lion, and he set sack records in the CFL before going to Miami and doing the same and being a real force to be reckoned with for a few years going on there. But we've seen it before. I think we could see it again here with Chris Streveler. We'll see what happens. If Kyler's leg really is okay, then we won't see him. If it isn't okay, then we could see him by the end of the first quarter, which would be fun. The Rams also need a win. They need to win in order to get into the playoffs here. Who do I think is going to win? I really think the Rams have too many injuries to overcome. I believe Henderson's also injured. He was carted off the field last week. They're starting running back. So I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals in this one. Two awful offenses right now that haven't been able to get the ball rolling. So I'm gonna take Arizona here. I know the Rams defense is a lot better, but Arizona wins this one 21-10 in my opinion. And that's all I got for you for this week. This is the last regular season week going on. So next week I'm going to be talking about the wild card matchups. I believe there'll be 6 games going on in 3 games in each conference. So we'll see how it wraps up. Let me know what you think about my predictions. Just so you know, last week I had an awful week. I want to say 9-7 last week. So wasn't the week that I was expecting, but take a look at all of my other predictions on my Instagram at Harvey's Huddle, and let me know what you think. Reach out to me. Thank you for everyone who has reached out and commented on the questions that I already have posted. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get a fan base out there, so share the heck out of this thing, and let's go have a great week 17. Thanks for listening. I'm Jackson Harvey. This has been Harvey's Huddle. Take care.